So the big question we're going to talk about in this video is, should Social Security numbers be abandoned? Should we get rid of them and find something new that's a little bit more reliable and less easily stolen? Now, there's this article that kind of prompted this video from MarketWatch, and it was called, Should Social Security Numbers Be Abandoned? And it gave some pretty good reasons. You know, number one, there's been a lot of talk here recently about all these different companies. I'm not going to pick on any in particular, but you all know them. You really big name companies where identities and credit card information, Social Security numbers, etc., have been stolen. And we tell everyone as soon as that happens to change your passwords, etc. Yet the one thing that never changes is a Social Security number. And there are so many people out there, and you might not know this, but for every person that has a Social Security number, which is every American, there are so many more people that have access to that and have it in front of their face and many times throughout the day. And it's everything from vendors and insurance carriers and health providers and doctors' offices and all the different places that use this. Well, guess what? Social Security numbers, when they came out 80 years ago, were never intended to be used the way we are today. They were never intended to be used for even taxmen and employers and healthcare providers and doctors and all the other stuff that they're used for today. So it's created a huge issue, and there's been so many different breaches, different Social Security numbers and groups of Social Security numbers stolen. This fact here is going to shock you that on the black market, because there's clearly a black market for those of you that don't know, for Social Security numbers and credit card information, all that stuff, stolen information that gets sold on the black market, Social Security numbers go for just $3 a pop. So that just shows you how many people have your Social Security number, that they're just kind of lackadaisical and selling them for $3 a pop. They almost have no value anymore because so many people have access to it, which is just crazy. Now, the U.S. don't even talk about tax fraud. I mean, fraud of getting your credit information stolen and your identity theft and all that. But the tax fraud alone from the U.S., they lose billions of dollars with a B every single year to thieves who are filing for someone else's tax refund after the fact, once they've gotten their hands on their Social Security numbers. And in 2011, this article talks about the IRS issued $3.6 billion in potentially fraudulent tax refunds from people who had their Social Security numbers stolen. That is crazy. So for more than 174,000 Social Security numbers, more than one refund was filed. So it's obviously an indicator that those were usually stolen. 174,000 different people. And that takes, it's one thing to steal someone's identity and go get a credit card or something, but to file it with the IRS and have money sent to a certain bank account or an address, I mean, the 174,000 cases of that takes a lot of courage. Let's see, last piece on here. Oh, so everyone's wondering, all right, well, what's the solution? What's being thrown out there as a potential solution? Now, India and a couple other countries have been using some similar things like this. And Obama announced a program in 2011 called the National Strategy for Trusted Identities in Cyberspace. So the National Strategy for Trusted Identities in Cyberspace. And it's an initiative to partner up with a lot of private companies and create some kind of online protected, really secure framework. And it would be like some kind of internet ID system is what's been proposed so far. So it would be one, probably really long, not just 9 digits, some really long internet ID that it would interact with all different government agencies and your taxes and stuff like that. And they're talking about having tied to fingerprints and different biometrics that can be used. And that's what India and some of these other countries are doing, is using biometrics either by fingerprints, eye scans, and that's some of the stuff that, if for those of you that have, the new iPhones and some laptops and stuff have this, that some of these are already doing the eye scans and the fingerprints. So it can be done. Of course, it's tougher to fill out stuff like that because that does affect how everything is filed from your medical bills and all that. And right now, there is obviously a huge issue with this. There's just too many people have access to your social. I get just weary every time I have to give it out. We recently moved here to Georgia from Texas, and had to get new doctors and all that, and having to give my wife and my children and myself and our socials out every time you do something new, and new doctors and healthcares, and it's just like so many people have access, and I'm having to give this over the phone and sometimes through email to some who knows where this other person might be that's collecting this. So Really, really scary, and probably another reason that these things are just going for $3 out in the black market. So be very careful with your Social Security numbers. Be very careful who you send it to. Try to never send it electronically. That stuff can get passed around really quickly. I know the same thing can happen even with faxes or even over the phone. It can obviously be shared easily, but anytime you put it out there on the internet, it's very susceptible to be stolen even quicker. So be careful. Make sure whoever you're giving your Social Security number to is a legit person and has a reason to be asking for it, and it's your number. Don't ever feel like you have to give it up, because you don't have to. And if you want to talk to their supervisor, find out exactly why they need it. If it doesn't just seem right and doesn't seem fitting that they would need your social, then by all means do not give it to them. Don't be one of those people who gets identity theft and has it sold for $3 in the black market. So for more on this, stay tuned. We will try to bring some more updates as more opportunities and more kind of bills and different ideas start being proposed on ways to protect Social Security numbers or to completely get rid of it and change it altogether.